Alrighty, folks, we need to have what I call an adult conversation. There's some stuff going on in the financial system that not a lot of people are watching, and even less people can see coming. And what we're going to talk about here is the liquidity being drained from the system. We're going to talk about a billionaire. Yes, folks, I call him Billionaire Barry in a moment. But before we do, let's welcome the guys to the show. Dustin, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And Jonathan, you?
I am all right. That's funny. Jonathan, you. You?
Yeah,
How about
there
you?
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Totally unintentional, but I will probably do that again later. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's good.
So, guys, let's talk about Billionaire Barry. So, first off, I've coined this name for Barry Sternlicht. He earned that name after going on CNBC with PowerPoint, basically begging the Fed to cut rates. Since Billionaire Barry went on CNBC with PowerPoint, which is not a good look for a billionaire, he has sent his mortgage company into bankruptcy. He has stopped distributions on his REITs. And now Billionaire Barry is selling 2,000 single-family homes. I know why he's doing this, or at least I have a very strong suspicion. We're going to run through my opinions. But yeah, folks, Billionaire Barry is in trouble. And let's be clear, this is not about Billionaire Barry. This is about commercial real estate titans being illiquid and, frankly, not billionaires anymore, right? And now I want to be clear. I'm not saying they're going to lose their properties. There is a balance sheet and an income statement. Their balance sheet of their offices and hotels and mixed use and all of this, there are billionaires last year that aren't billionaires today. So we'll go back to Jonathan first. Jonathan, does this ring a bell? Are you seeing stuff like this out there?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it last week too, right? In terms of liquidity wise. Obviously didn't know about the Billionaire Barry part, but but just what we've seen in the markets, where Dustin and I are seeing clients that are higher net worth clients sell out of their commercial real estate and 1031ing into single families and multifamilies that are under 4 units. So I mean the liquidity we talked about last week as well, but it's continuing worse probably now is the banks just don't want to lend. They just can't lend. So that's the situation we're in right now. And commercial is kind of following behind residential, residential was like a year ago. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Dustin,
Yeah.
I want to set this story up because this is Billionaire Barry in a nutshell. And I want to ask you what you would do or what you would coach one of your clients, right? So you're a billionaire, right? You're highfalutin, you're running around in your private jets, you own, I don't know, 7, 8 office buildings, you got this or that, you're worth $1 billion legit. But then the market turns on you. The Fed tells you at Jackson Hole they're growing higher for longer. You don't listen. You don't restructure. They gave a warning shot and you didn't listen. You stayed illiquid, didn't get your debt structure intact. Now you got some stuff coming due. And you know that the value of that stuff is not what it was. Best case, you're going to do a cash-in refi. You're going to stroke a check. Unfortunately, you're an illiquid billionaire. You don't have the deep cash sitting on the sidelines because you stayed at the buffet too long and didn't listen. So now you're sitting in your portfolio. You could sell an office building and lose your ass. You could sell a hotel and lose your ass. Or you have these 3,000 or 3,200 homes you bought over the last few years. You could sell some of those. What do you think you would do, Dustin?
So the problem that billionaire faces that he's kind of in a corner, right? Being illiquid, and a lot of the clients that we have obviously have a lot of money in commercial real estate. And the problem they're seeing is obviously the different terms and structures that you get on a deal, right? Shorter term notes with balloons on them. And then you've got adjustables. A lot of times they're adjusting after year 1, right out the gate, maybe year 3.
Yeah.
And now because here's a big thing for those that are invested or maybe thinking about doing commercial or maybe only do residential, a lot of the times when you're getting your valuation on your property on a commercial building, they're going to use an income calculation to determine, okay, what that building is worth. Now, when they were calculating what your building was worth 3-4 years ago, they were using a higher rent amount that you were receiving, and they were also using a lower mortgage payment or a debt service. So that value was significantly higher. Now, 2-3 years later, you've got those switched, right? You've got a higher mortgage payment or a higher debt service, and you've got significantly less rent because of the vacancy factor, right? So we've got, a big crunch in terms of the net value of a lot of these guys' portfolios, where they get to the point, like you said, they can lose their ass selling it in terms of their office building or their hotel. But you go into residential, it's different because of the fact that, look, those debts that most people get on residential are going to be 30-year fixed. They're going to be fixed debt, right? And fortunately for most places, rent for residential living has not dropped 30, 40%, nor has there been a vacancy hit of 30 or 40% like in commercial.
Yeah. And this is Billionaire Barry. I guarantee you he is stressed out in his very fancy mansion, probably several mansions. And he's like, I can't sell that office. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. Probably rightly believes they'll come back. This is a liquidity crunch. In fact, in commercial, I've heard a lot of folks off the record say survive to 25. And that's what I think Barry's doing. He's like, I got to stack cash so I could limp through this. So again, this is because when you look at, all these doomers on YouTube look at Barry selling his homes, this is what they say. Barry Sternlicht is an amazing investor. He is a billionaire. He is selling homes because it's the top of the market. No, Barry needs cash. Barry is saying that being a landlord in single family homes is hard. He can't do it. He's going there. No, Barry needs cash. This is all about being illiquid and trying to survive. Again, I want to stress there are billionaires, and I don't know anything about Barry specifically, but I promise you this, there are billionaires that were on paper last year that just aren't billionaires today. And frankly, they might have a negative net worth, right? You take a cap rate of 3.5 and put it at 5. You take a vacancy or an NOI, and drop it 10%. It gets ugly really, really fast. So Jonathan, you said earlier, the banks don't want to lend. This is all part of liquidity crunch, and these billionaires are trying to survive, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've been seeing it come out in the terms. Obviously, we have a commercial lending arm of Convoy, and they're writing the only loans they can write are like 40%, 50% down, right?
Yeah.
With maybe 10, 20% of reserves held in the account. So basically, you're putting 50 to anywhere between 60 to 70%, right, into a property in order for the bank to feel comfortable for them to write on that property, right?
Yeah, banks will still lend, but we're talking 50% now.
Yeah. So it's basically like they're not lending, right? And we're talking about liquidity. They just don't want to lend on higher leverage. And right now in this market, everybody wants to stretch their dollar further. And every call we get is how little can I put down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, if you're trying to put little down on a commercial property or even residential right now, it's just not going to work in your favor, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not the market to act illiquid, like you said. This is the market more for, hey, if you want to you got to make safer bets, right? And really hedge against what's going on.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you guys just straight up with the little in my theater and dramatics and antics and all of that. Is it fair to say, I will go to Dustin first, that Billionaire Barry is likely just stacking cash so he can survive? This is not some call on the housing market crash. Is that fair, Dustin?
I would agree. That's fair.
Jonathan, what do you think of all the craziness I just led? Same thing?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's just easier to sell. You're going to be able to sell I mean, it's like Monopoly. You can sell not like Monopoly, but you can sell a house very easily.
Yeah, it's easier to sell a greenhouse than a red hotel.
Yeah.
That's Monopoly.
Exactly.
Greenhouses sell better.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Well, guys, where should somebody reach out if somebody wants to get something moving and grooving? How should they do that with Convoy?
Go to convoyhomeloans.com and let us know you came for more at.
All right. Thank you so much.